Hello everyone, today I'll be showing you some of the upcoming changes that will happen in the Wrath the Lich King pre-patch. But before I show you these things, then I would like to say thank you to all the people who support the channel. This means a lot to me, and hopefully I'll soon be able to give away some Wrath the Lich King beta keys to my subscribers. But yeah, anyway, enjoy this video. A big change has happened to the Shaman spell, Bloodlust and Heurism. In Wrath the Lich King, this will now buff the party and the raid members. Back in Burning Crusade, this only gave a buff to the party members. But what has also been changed is that now Heurism and Bloodlust will also grant you a 10 minutes debuff. When you have this debuff, you will not be able to benefit from Bloodlust and Heurism. The good thing, however, is that when you die, you will no longer have this debuff. So in case the raid wipes, you will be able to use Heurism and Bloodlust again. In Burning Crusade, single target spells has a chance to crit, but you will not be able to crit with AoE spells. In Wrath the Lich King, this will now change, and as you can see in this clip, my Blizzard has a chance to crit whenever it hits. The next change is for those of you who like to PvP as a Trink, for example at level 19, 29, 39 and etc. In the pre-patch, you will now be able to stop your experience. You need to pay 10 gold, but then you will no longer be able to grant experience. Amazing in case you plan to go into dungeons to get your best in slot items. These NPCs can be found at the Battleground Masters in Stormwind City and Orgrimmar. And when you pay 10 gold to not get experience any longer, then you can always pay another 10 gold to once again grant experience. In Burning Crusade, the cooldown on your Hearthstone used to be 1 hour, but in the pre-patch this will change and now be 30 minutes instead. This will have a huge impact on how fast you will be able to level, and I'm planning to re-roll the fresh Wrath the Lich King Classic servers, so therefore I'm also looking forward to this. The interface will also receive some changes. You will now be able to hover over an item that you have equipped and hold down Alt. In case you have another item that is similar to this slot, for example a chest piece, then you will be able to see this in your bags. This you can then equip or compare the stats to. If you wish to compare the stats, then you can hover over the other item and hold down Shift. Now you can see the difference, for example the stamina, agility and armor. An in-game quest helper has also been implemented, so now you no longer need an add-on to see where you need to go for the different quests. You can also change the map, so for example have a small map when you press M, but you can also enlarge this. Overall, I don't really like this new default quest helper, and I usually use a leveling add-on instead, for example rested experience. This will tell you where you need to go next and what quest that is important to do. I'll leave a link to this add-on in the description. When you level up your character, you might also be leveling a profession at the same time. If you have chosen to level mining, you will be able to see the veins on the minimap. But when you track these, they will now also start to shine. This is a new implementation in Wrath the Lich King. And what's even more amazing is that now you only need to mine one time. And when you do this, you will loot all the ores and different things at once. In Burning Crusade, you had to click the vein a lot of times to loot all the different things. Gather professions will also see some other changes. If you level up skinning, you will get increased critical strike rating. If you level up mining, you will get more stamina. And if you level herbalism, you will get a buff that you can use to restore health over time. The amount of stamina, crit rating and healing over time all depends on your skill level in the different professions. The higher skill level, the better buff. Before I show you all the other changes, then I would like to know if you consider playing on the upcoming fresh Wrath the Lich King servers. What should Blizzard change for you to actually re-roll on these servers? Let me know this in a comment below the video. And also let me know if you have already decided to play on one of these fresh servers, and what has been the biggest reason for you to make this decision. When you're questing in the different zones, quest objects will now also start to shine. But it's important that you're on the quest before this will happen. If you pay attention to the oak over here, it will now start to shine because I picked up the quest. This will be extremely useful, especially when you're questing in an area where you have never been before. The Barber Shop has also been implemented, allowing you to change your hairstyle, hair color, but also markings and for example piercings. What will also change compared to original Wrath the Lich King is that you will also be able to change your face, but also gender. This has been confirmed in a Twitter post, but sadly I can't show you in-game footage of this right now. Warlocks will now also be able to summon a summoning stone, and all party and raid members will be able to use this, even when the Warlock is not nearby. In Burning Crusade, you were not able to summon people to your destination inside a dungeon or raid unless they were already in the dungeon or raid. But in Wrath of the Lich King this will change, and the player can now be in another zone and still get summoned to the right location inside the dungeon or raid. In the different major cities, there will now also be a portal to Blasted Lands. This will allow you to head into Burning Crusade content a lot faster. You will need to be level 58 in order to use this portal. In the pre-patch, there will also be some big changes to some of the different racials. For example, the new human racial, Every Man for Himself. This ability you can use every 2 minutes to break out of CCs, for example stun and polymorph. There will also be a change to the Night Elf racial, Shadow Meld. In Burning Crusade, this had a low cooldown, but you were not able to use this in combat. In Wrath of the Lich King, you will now be able to use this in combat, but it also has a 2 minutes cooldown. Still a useful spell, especially in PvP, if you need to interrupt the spell being casted on you. The Undead racial, Will of the Sagan, will be nerfed. In Burning Crusade you could use this, and then for the next 5 seconds you would also be immune to these. In Wrath of the Lich King you can still use this to break out of the CC, but you will no longer be immune. It will also give you a 45 seconds cooldown on your trinket, so this is a big nerf compared to some of the other classes. The Orc Racial hardiness will also be nerfed. In Burning Crusade this gave you 15% chance to resist a stun, but in Wrath of the Lich King it will only reduce the stun duration. However, the Orc Racial Blood Fury has been buffed. It will now also increase your spell power when you use this ability. And back in Burning Crusade, when you use the ability, you would also reduce the healing received by 50%. This debuff has been removed in Wrath of the Lich King. The Troll Racial Berserkering has also been changed. It will now always increase the attack speed and spell casting speed by the same percentage. Back in Burning Crusade, this all depended on your health. The lower health, the more attack speed and spell casting speed you would also get. Flask will also be nerfed. Back in Burning Crusade, they used to last for 2 hours. In Wrath of the Lich King, they will only last for 1 hour. They will still continue to work when you die, but still this is a huge nerf because now you have to use 2 instead of 1. A level 70 character boost will also be introduced, but you will not be able to use this boost on the new hero class Death Knight. At the same time, you will also not be able to use this on the new fresh Wrath of the Lich King classic servers. How do you feel about the level 70 character boost? Let me know this in a comment below the video. Back in Burning Crusade, Battleground Marks, Badge of Justice and other stuff would be in your bags. But now they will all be in this currency tab, so you no longer need to use backspace keeping these on your character. Stats will also be changing in the pre-patch. There will no longer be spell hit and normal hit. Instead this will just be called hit. For example, if you play an enhancement shaman, you will now benefit from this when you use your melee abilities, but also your spells. Another big change will be spell power. Spell power will now increase your healing and spell damage. Back in Burning Crusade, it used to give bonus healing or bonus spell damage, but this will no longer be the case, so many spellcasters and healers will now share the same items. Mounts will also be changing. You will now be able to learn the normal ground mount, so the 60% ground mount at level 20, and the price for this mount has also been reduced. When you reach level 40, you will now also be able to learn epic mounts. Back in Burning Crusade, you had to be level 30 for the normal riding skill and level 60 for the epic riding skill, so this is a big change. When you reach level 60, another change has also been implemented. You will now be able to learn the normal flying skill. Back in Burning Crusade, you had to be level 70 for this. The price has also been reduced and the flying speed has been increased. You will still need to be level 70 in order to learn the epic flying skill. Like I mentioned, then the flying speed has been increased for the normal mounts. Back in Burning Crusade, it increased your flying and movement speed by 60%. In the Wrath of the Lich King pre-patch, it will now be 150%. Back in Burning Crusade, you always needed your mounts in your bags if you were planning to use them. But in the pre-patch, you can now right-click these and save a lot of inventory space. If you wonder where you can find all your mounts, then you can find these in the pet tab. The achievement system has also been added into the game, so if you don't know what to do in the pre-patch, then you could always start farming these achievements. You can even prepare some of these in Burning Crusade, so the moment the system is being unlocked, you will also complete these instantly. I've made a video with the different things you can prepare, and you can find this in the description. A new hero class will also be playable, and what I'm talking about is Death Knights. This class will start at level 55, and you can play them as all the different races. If you plan to play on the first servers, then you will need to level another character to 55 before you can create a Death Knight. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, then you will not be able to use a level 70 boost on a Death Knight. You can now also link your profession in the chat, and when people click on your profession, they will be able to see what you can craft, but also what materials they need to provide for you to craft the item. You can now also level the new profession, Inscription. This profession will provide different scrolls, buffs, glyphs, and other stuff. For example, also the possibility to craft the Dark Moon cards. You will be able to craft the level 60, 70, and also a new level 80 set. If you would like to know more about this upcoming profession, then I've made a profession guide where I also cover all the different stuff that you need to prepare, but also what you need to craft from 1 to 450. The talent trees for all the different classes has also been reworked, so you will be able to get a lot of new spells and abilities. Soon I'll be working on a new video where I show you all the different talents that will be implemented in the pre-patch, but else you could always watch my Wrath the Lich King class guides. In those videos I also show you the new spells. Beside the talent trees, then a glyph system has also been introduced, allowing you to change your spells. You can for example get glyphs that increase the duration of certain spells, the amount of damage, healing, and other stuff. You can either purchase the glyphs on the auction house or craft them yourself in case you plan to level the new profession, Inscription. But yeah, that's also about it for today. In case you liked this video, it would mean a lot to me if you would subscribe to the channel. This will also notify you whenever I post new content, for example preparation videos and other Wrath the Lich King related videos. As always, thank you for watching and have an amazing day. Peace.